Guys, another Tim and Katie live stream. Must be Tuesday. Hang on,
Must be Tuesday.
Can't do this without music. I go insane. I don't talk enough.
Can do it without.
No, I don't talk enough to fill the awkward silence.
It's not an awkward silence right now.
There's
as we're
probably
talking.
an awkward silence. They probably just appear suddenly.
Audio
What's
is
up,
good.
guys? Audio
Thank
is
you,
good.
Tim. I always panic about that at the
y'all
start.
know the drill. Thank you. All right. Well, since we already have some friends in the chat, I'll go ahead and
bring them out. Bring them out.
Who we got? Storm and Thrills. Almost like we just see you.
Almost like we've just seen you.
Maybe we did. Who's to say?
Where else did I get this sweet shirt?
That vlog has yet to hit the internet, so it's hard for us to say for sure.
I got my first non-Disney Spirit jersey from Dark.
2 tickets, 2 adventures in. Chad and Vanessa, good evening, y'all. Phantasmic Fandoms, Kaylee.
Fandom.
Thank you for Did I say fandom?
Yeah, I don't know. You said it kind of
Fandom. Fantastic Fandoms.
Welcome, Kaylee.
Welcome, Kaylee. We love you. Sorry. And yes, it is a bucket hat.
Yes, it is.
It's a Hallow Scream bucket hat. I've got my Hallow Scream hoodie on. I'm trying to give you guys a break from the same old haunt outfit that I wear every time.
I like my
It's themed, but
outfits.
It do grow old.
So.
Also, Mitch. What's up, Mitch? Thanks for joining, man. I always feel great when people show up to these live streams. I truly do, because I know there's other things you could be doing on Tuesday nights. We know you have a choice of which airlines to fly on.
We thank you for choosing
Thank you for choosing Southwest. Dewey Overholter. Welcome. I believe we've crossed paths.
I think
given by the profile
been
picture.
Given a scare.
I think we've been given a scare one time or another. Good to meet you guys. It's just Vanessa tonight, because Chad is editing. Well,
we can't wait to see your.
We are super excited for your.
Chad and Vanessa did a Halloween.
Mandy!
Oh my gosh, it's been a minute.
I was just thinking about Mandy the other day because we hadn't talked to her in a minute.
I want to finish that thought though about Chad and Vanessa because I didn't get it out. They went on a Halloween cruise on Disney, and we're excited to see that vlog. Also, it was during the week of the hurricane, so they got they went from a 4-night to a 6-night.
Don't spoil all their content.
I don't know. I just want to get people hyped for it. I'm the hype man for it. Anyway,
you are a good hype.
We're excited to see those vlogs. Good luck to Chad, but happy you're here, Vanessa. Happy to see Mandy.
From Field of Screams, confirmed. Yes. Thank you for joining.
Thank you for the scares.
Incidentally, our thumbnail for this this live stream is one of our dear friends, Brittany from Field of Screams. So if y'all haven't checked out our Field of Screams vlogs, just work your way backwards.
There's a lot of them.
There's a lot of them. We love.
And we're going back, but not.
We are going back, but we're not vlogging the next time that we go. We're just going to hang out because that's how much we love it. You guys should too.
Yeah.
Oh right. Did I miss anyone? We got Storm and Thrills, Mitch. No, I think everyone who's in is in. Let's do it. All right. So tonight, guys, if you haven't read the video title, Tonight we're going to be talking about haunts. We've been talking about haunts for pretty much the entirety of September and October.
We're trying to keep it spooky.
We're trying to keep it spooky themed. This is the last live stream of spooky season because the next time we come to you will be 2 weeks from today, and unfortunately,
it's the day after Halloween.
Sad to say, but Halloween will be in the rear view by the time we come to you next. So there will still be fun and games, don't get me wrong, but it will not be quite as spooky as once it was. So we thought that given that this is our last live stream of the spooky season, it was only fitting to kind of talk about some of the things that we look forward to doing in other spooky seasons, like looking ahead to next spooky seasons. Maybe not next,
yeah.
but like, next in the future.
It's the before we die list. So as long as we don't have like pacemakers.
I was actually really proud of my slogan. That was like, haunts to try before we die.
Yeah.
I feel like that'll be, ooh. Speaking
like
of
a t-shirt.
I was going to say it would make a good blog title, and you know what? Speaking of that.
We need blogs.
We do need blogs. I'll just start from the bottom and say our website's not up to date. You guys know the drill if you've been here before. We suck at updating our website. We have one.
Insert speech about website.
Yeah. It's the same thing every time. We have one, timandkt.net. It's mostly for SEO, but sometimes we post opinion pieces there. We're going to catch up.
Or expand upon our review.
We are going to catch it up. I promise. But just so you're aware of it, that's the main thing. Tim and Katie and The Real Tim and Katie on Facebook and Instagram, respectively. Those are the ones that matter, because if you follow along with us, you get to kind of
preview what we're doing. And that's all we have, because we don't do TikTok as a whole.
Wow. Buzzkill.
Yeah.
So tonight we're going to be talking about the bucket list haunts, as Katie said, and specifically when we say the bucket list haunts, it's the haunts that like we've heard about. This is by not even remotely all the haunts we want to do, like not even remotely. Yeah. But these are all haunts that we have not done before. All haunts that have been on our radar for a little while or a long while in some cases. Some of them theme park haunts, some of them non-theme park haunts. Some of them haunts that are local and easier to get to, and some that are like long shot.
There's literally one that's like 25 minutes away we still haven't checked out yet.
We're just busy. Haunt season is busy, y'all. You know what the problem is? I just want to get on a pedestal for a minute here. The problem is that a lot of haunts, and we love every haunt, like almost every haunt we've ever been to, we've had a really great experience, and we've loved going to haunts, and we love exploring haunts. The problem is that a lot of haunts, particularly the local ones that are like family run, they don't open until like 3 weeks before the end of October, and then they run for 3 weekends and they're done. And during October, like we try to do as much as we can in September, and then like try to vary a little bit in October. But then our local, like our favorite haunts, continue to offer like new and exciting things that draw us back. And
weather can delay openings or cancel the weekend.
Outdoor haunts are subject to weather, which is inconvenient.
So if we get a weekend canceled, then we get a weekend canceled.
What we really need to do, and this is contingent on us living long, productive lives, is we need to like plan like 2 new haunts for every season. Yeah. And so that's why, and then just keep going back to the old haunts that we love, like the rest of the season. Yeah. So that's kind of where we're at. Is like we're kind of crowdsourcing ideas on how to build out future haunts, but we also want to share some haunts with you guys that you might never have heard of before. Some on this list I guarantee you will have, because they're just really good haunts. They're very popular. But others you might not have. And I will be, full disclosure, to be totally honest with you, some of them we didn't hear about until very, very, very recently, like last week even. There's at least one on this list that I didn't know about until last week.
This list was being constructed as late as last night.
Yeah. So. And it will continue to be constructed as we go. So if y'all have any comments about any of the haunts we list out tonight, please drop them. We'll put them up on screen so we can share the wisdom of the masses with everyone else. Yes. We are super excited to talk haunts with y'all. The
comments have been.
I know they've been blowing up. Oh, y'all are talking to each other.
Yes.
I love that. I love that.
I thought it was really cute.
There's a really strong chance there may be a continuation from Dark Knight's Descend in Twisted Darkness, from what we've heard.
Well, we love Descent.
We have been now to Dark Knight's at Hershey Park.
In case you couldn't tell.
We have merch.
I want to say something about this cup. It lights up, and it takes the color of whatever juice you put in it or whatever. Yeah, sorry. It's getting, you can't see Dark Knight's as much
because you drank so much out of it.
But there's like the back. But it lights up when you pour liquid in it, and when you're done, that's how it turns off. And I was driving me nuts trying to figure out, but I actually really like that. So cool, Hershey Park, for that technology.
Once we knew what we were doing, it was really
it was
cool.
like, oh, so when you
Up until then, it was kind of panic-inducing because we were trying to go in a house. And we're like, I don't think we can take this giant glowing beverage.
And they shook it out a little bit, and it turned off.
Anyway, we've been now to Hershey Park's Dark Nights. We will have a vlog coming from that. Storming Thrills may or may not be a part of it. But I will say, it might be a little longer than expected.
Yeah.
We may need to postpone our normal drop because we have been just mad busy with all fun stuff. And there's other vlogs coming. But we've been mad busy in ways we didn't necessarily expect to be. And so it might be a little bit off schedule. But it will drop before the end of the month. I promise you this.
We did have a fun spooky time.
We super had a fun.
Hey, Bill Wells World.
Oh, Jean-Claire.
Hi, Jean-Claire.
Thank you for joining. This is a spooky one. I love indoctrinating people with spooky stuff.
Tim says it's cold. So it's not. Is it cold water or cold juice activated, or is it just cold? Like if I put this in the freezer, is it going to turn on?
If you put like hot coffee in it, I don't think it would.
Well, I don't want to put hot coffee in it.
No, we'd melt the battery anyway.
Yeah. Well, anyway,
it's a cool cup. It's a cool cup. All right. Haunts to try before we die. Let's do this. So, when we were building this list out, we were debating how many different haunts to include because, as we mentioned, there are thousands of haunts. I would say there's one haunt for every Chick-fil-A location, not adjacent or related, just like in sheer volume. Like there's that many haunts in the U.S. Yeah. So when we were putting together this list, I literally said to Katie, like, it feels like we should lean into, like the spooky numbers. So either we have to do 666 different haunts, or we have to do 13. So we did 13. So we're going to be talking about 13 of our bucket list haunts tonight. And can I speak? Can I speak? Yeah, it's going to be fun. So let's go. First up, we're going to start local. Some of you in our area may have heard of this one. Some of you may not have. I know for a fact that Chad and Vanessa have because Vanessa and I have talked about it before. Nevermore!
Nevermore. Not to be confused with the house Nevermore.
Yes, there is a Hollow Scream Busch Gardens house called Nevermore, and then this year, Nevermore Chapter 2.
If you don't know, Edgar Allan Poe has some history in Baltimore.
He does.
Because that's where he mysteriously died.
If you watch the movie The Raven, which is not bad, you will see that he mysteriously dies/disappears at the end of the movie, wanders off into the mist, and in the movie he's poisoned, but in reality, we don't know.
So the football team, the Ravens, is actually named after Edgar Allan Poe's poem, The Raven. So Baltimore loves Edgar Allan Poe.
As they should.
As they should. And Edgar, I don't love the Ravens, but I love Poe.
Edgar is the original goth. Yeah. Like he was the goth kid growing up. And everyone that came after him has just been like Edgar Part 2.
And he's like one of, I don't think he's the original, but he's, a great like horror short story writer. So anyway, if you don't know. So
naturally, Nevermore has some Raven theming, and a lot of what the haunt does is based on the works of Edgar Allan Poe.
Some creepy stuff, guys.
It is creepy. It's all indoors. Now, let me tell you the reason that we've not been to this haunt yet. Number one, I'll be totally just like completely honest. We hate Baltimore.
We don't like going to Baltimore City. I went to school there. He lived there.
There's fun stuff to do in Baltimore. There is, but you have to go through like the mess of like the inner city to get to all those fun things. There's no way to get to.
Is my car window going to be broken in?
It's a raw deal. Like you gotta make some trade-offs. But there is fun stuff to do in Baltimore. This is one of the things that we've just been kind of like, we do want to do it, but we have to figure out when
there's
we're
some
willing to.
And a little bit of logistics.
The other reason is obviously it's an all indoor haunt. It's built into the side of a building, so it's not like an established grounds that you like wander around like Field of Screams where we go off, and it's like something that comes. I think they do have a rented space. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's Nevermore like year round.
It's like Spirit Halloween. Like they take over the space for
but it's one space. It's not like whatever shoe store goes out of business.
Right.
So that being said, you also can't film inside, which means that we wouldn't be able to really bring that experience to you unless we were to make some sort of arrangement with the property.
Right.
So we've kind of been like, well, let's go focus on the stuff that's like super fun near us that we can show you a little bit of.
Content, exactly.
Yeah.
So it would be a super fun thing we want to do, maybe write a blog post about, but...
It is on the bucket list, hence it being on the list. But It is a super
and would
cool.
require the least amount of traveling.
From what we've heard, it is super duper cool. It is a really cool experience that's very historical, that's built around the Edgar Allan Poe lore, as Katie said. And honestly, we kind of divvied this list up into here's the haunt and then what makes it cool. So what makes this place cool is it's home base for us. It is something that, growing up in Baltimore, we have a lot of historical reference points for Edgar Allan Poe. We know a lot about Edgar Allan Poe because Baltimore makes Edgar Allan Poe the stuff of legend. And then having this haunt that's based on all of his short stories is kind of like seeing something jump off the page for us.
Yeah.
And everything that we've seen from websites and blog reviews and whatnot makes it sound like this is a really cool haunt. So it's been on the list for a while. We will definitely get to it. It is one of the lower priorities on our list of 13 here. But because it's right next door, we have this perhaps mistaken impression that it will always be there. And it would be tragic if we didn't get to
if it was if it moved or died one year.
This is the one year that Nevermore decides not to do a haunt in Baltimore. That's the year we decide to go. But definitely on the list. Definitely check it out if you've not heard of it. Nevermore. I believe it's nevermore.com, but it might be nevermorehaunt.com or something like that. So check it out. Really easy to find. Super cool haunt idea concept. We hope to investigate further one day.
Indeed. Next.
Suddenly less practical. So we have been to Universal Studios Hollywood before with our friend Kaylee on a recent trip. It was the first time actually that we went this year in April.
Yeah.
And understandably smaller space than Universal Orlando, much smaller than what you're used to. I feel like over the last couple of live streams and the content, the Instagram posts, we have probably beat Halloween Horror Nights to death with the stuff we've been putting out. So I won't spend too long on this. There are a lot of overlapping elements between what goes on in Hollywood and what goes on at Universal Studios Florida. But here's what's a little bit different.
What makes it cool?
What makes it cool? So this, I don't know what year this is from, but I will tell you that Universal Studios Hollywood, as a functioning film set, as a studio, an actual functioning studio where they still shoot stuff on the day-to-day in the center, dead in the center of Hollywood. They have warehouses that will go unused if unrented by Hollywood production studios. Anyone can rent a lot at Warner Brothers or at Universal. It doesn't have to be Warner Brothers using Warner Brothers building and so on and so forth. So if no one has reserved that warehouse by X date, they just build extra houses into those warehouses. So first of all, even though Universal Studios Hollywood is a smaller park, they get more houses than Halloween Horror Nights Orlando.
And you get the cool thing to walk through a
carryover,
a film studio. I mean, just the history there could be really cool. Anyway,
the other cool thing about Hollywood's Halloween Horror Nights is that you have, in addition to the IPs that carry over and the original houses that are unique to that area, you also have the Terror Train. Which is sometimes an experience unto itself in terms of IP or the original ideas that they come up with. It's different every year. It's not it's the same experience every year. Just like Halloween Horror Nights Orlando, they try to mix it up as much as possible. The Terror Tram is the studio tour with an overlay on it. You drive through other areas, other sets where they've set up additional scenes and scenelets and vignettes for characters to interact with you. Sometimes they jump on the train, sometimes they don't.
I don't know if they jump on the train anymore.
Maybe not since COVID, but they did.
No, it's not about COVID. It's about a horrible thing that happened the first time they did the Terror Train.
Gracious.
Yeah.
Way to bring the mood
down. Check out what is it, Theme Park Disaster or something for that video.
Don't check out Theme Park Disaster.
I'm gonna.
No one's gonna want to watch this anymore.
No, I just mean I don't know if they jump on the Terror Train anymore. I'm just saying.
Oh, Jamie Nari.
Hi, we just got started.
Welcome to our spooky live.
Anyway.
And thank you, Kaylee and Tim, for
liking thumbs up.
Yes, please do hit the thumbs up. It really does help us grow and helps other people see our ugly faces.
Thanks, babe.
Well, I'm mostly talking about mine. So, what makes Halloween Horror Nights Hollywood cool? I'm just going to push forward.
We're just going to keep going.
What makes Halloween Horror Nights Hollywood so much cooler, well, not so much cooler necessarily, but so cool and unique in and of itself, is these original elements. The other thing, and this is specifically for us, that makes it cool for us. At Halloween Horror Nights Orlando, if you've been, you well know. No phones, no filming, no flashlights. Still no flashlights in Hollywood. But because they have to get, thousands of people through, they don't want people dropping their phones and whatnot. In Hollywood, for whatever reason, this is not published information. We are not advocating breaking the rules if new rules are elected, but for whatever reason, they are much more lax about filming in the houses in Hollywood. Yeah. Many, many, many people go through a night filming on their phones, and the staff doesn't seem to mind as much in Hollywood as they do in Orlando. I don't know why. It just is.
And that could change.
That could easily change from year to year. But we would like to go some year and see what it's try our luck and see if we can capture some of the houses for you.
Exactly a real one of our more dynamic videos.
It would be experience. It would be fun.
Plus, just to capture the memories. I really wanted to film myself going through Hill House last year.
Oh, you were crying.
I was sobbing.
Not for scary reasons.
Yeah, I was
for, how wonderful they brought. What a great job they did bringing it to life.
Yep. Okay. We
next door
need to move on to
Not Scary Farm. If y'all have not seen our Knott's Berry Farm vlog from when we went out in the springtime, which obviously there's nothing Halloweeny about spring. But Knott's Berry Farm is a Cedar Fair-owned park, which is, for the most part, still very much operating as a family-owned park. So whereas Cedar Fair does haunt everywhere else, like every other location, they do haunt, which Chad and Vanessa say is a really great experience. We've yet to experience haunt, so take this with a grain of salt. We don't know what we're talking about when it comes to haunt. But with Knott's Scary Farm, it's an incredibly vivid experience, and I'll just, to detail that for you. It's very much like a true haunt. It's not just like a theme park haunt. These are people that are trained off-season scare actors that are brought in specifically for the purpose of bringing Knott's Scary Farm to life. And they really do lean more into that Western theme for Scary Farm.
Knott's Berry Farm in itself, as we've said before, just even though, like you said, it's owned by Cedar Fair, it feels like a family-run park. It just has
maybe not after dark
feeling. Well, I'm just saying, it just has that you can't touch this kind of feel to it. So we imagine that their haunt event is their haunt is like that as well.
2 tickets will be at Knott's Scary Farm this week? Oh, they're talking about haunt. Sorry.
Oh, okay. I was like, dang, you guys are heading to California.
Cool.
We've seen, I think the only coverage we've seen of the event is probably Justin Scarred.
Yeah.
I think maybe
Justin Scarred and Mouse Vibes.
Yes.
Our friends, Nick and Ashley go out to, they're actually brand reps for Knott's Berry Farm this season, and they got to do something really, really cool at Knott's Scary Farm. Yeah. Which you guys should definitely check out.
It just looks really cool, and I definitely want to go back to Knott's Berry Farm. So it would be nice to check it out in a different season,
a different light.
Yeah.
The other thing that makes Knott's Scary Farm so cool and so unique is they do true, genuine ride overlays. I'm talking the train, talking Calico Mine ride, talking the log flume ride. They go from Splash Mountain to Haunted Mansion on that log flume ride.
And that is the best log flume ride I've ever done.
I hate it.
It was amazing.
I despise it.
Thumbs up for the Knott's Berry Farm.
I would do it for the Knott's Scary Farm log flume experience. It looks so cool. It's like they flip a switch and it becomes something entirely different. It's so cool.
It's the best.
And the Calico Mine train ride and the train ride that usually during the day you get jacked by cowboy bandits. I don't know what they're called. Robbers?
Outlaws?
Outlaws! I was looking for a synonym that I couldn't find. Yeah, it's a very different experience.
But don't they become aren't they zombies or something?
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
At least, they have been in the past. But Knott's Scary Farm also likes to change things up year over year, like I was talking about.
Yeah.
It is cool.
It sounds very cool.
It is cool. Yeah. Knott's Scary Farm rules.
Yeah.
Oh.
You want to check it out one day.
Yeah. Chris the Girl and Tampa J were also just there.
Oh, they were in California?
I believe so.
Oh, wow.
They travel all over.
Yep.
You can't keep them down.
No.
All right, now for one that you might not have heard of unless you watch Mouse Vibes with Nick and Ashley. Tunnel of Terror OC. This I found actually before Mouse Vibes did by accident, because Jackie from Super Enthused went up to a haunted car wash in 2020 or 2021, I can't remember which, but while, the pandemic is actively raging, and, scare actors were not able to get up in people's faces quite so much, or people were a little bit more nervous about it. Hey, Jay's in.
Hey,
welcome,
Jay.
welcome. Yeah, I don't need to do that live again.
Yes, you do.
But in any case, in Florida, there was a haunted car wash that fit this bill very well. And the Tunnel of Terror OC is Anaheim's version. It's very, very close to Disneyland, and it's the same general principle. But now that the pandemic has eased a little bit, and you're able to go back and do some of the fun things that you used to be able to do, a lot of places did peel those layers back away and go back to normal function. Like Legends of the Fog in Maryland was a drive-through haunt that we did in 2020. Mm-hmm. They just went back to a full-form haunt. The haunted car wash here, Tunnel of Terror OC, which I don't know why I was just immediately forgot its name. It kept what made itself unique, and it continues to be a haunted car wash. It's still that. So what happens is you drive in, scare actors take your ticket, and then you go through, you literally go through a car wash, except instead of being, washed and cleaned, your car is being attacked by zombies, nightmares, clowns. Yeah. Super duper fun, right? Is a concept. Because on the one hand, it's up close and personal. On the other hand, you're as safe as you choose to be, because you can always just put the window up. So it's a great introductory haunt for scaredy cats, but it's also very unique.
Yeah, definitely unique.
So we have done, as I said, Legends of the Fog, which is, I think Legends of the Fog was actually our first ever spooky vlog.
It was.
Rough. Very rough. Content-wise. As a haunt, it was awesome. As a haunt, it was awesome.
But it's where the original Mr. Beaky was.
It was Mr. Beaky. Mr. Beaky OG.
Yep.
Yeah, it was good times. I would love to do this simply because it's so unique and so cool, and I would like to kind of relive some of the cool things that happened in 2020 that weren't pandemic related, that I thought were really cool and creative, and I think this place does that very well.
We need to clarify, they don't actually clean the car. It's just in a car wash, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, I think they do throw soap and stuff at, but it's also blood.
It might, I think it's pink.
I'm pretty sure.
Soap.
I'm pretty sure. Don't quote me on this. I'm pretty sure that at the end of the sequence, they do scrub it down a little bit to get the blood and guts.
Whatever they threw on your car.
Because you do have to presumably sign a waiver so that anything that happens to your car is not their fault. But they're not out. But they're not gonna break your windshield or anything like that. They just come up and scare you.
Right. If they accidentally knock your windshield wiper off, you can't sue them for it.
Yeah, you were right to clarify. There's a lot of questions.
Yeah, that's what I saw. I was we need to tell them. We need to let them know.
Watch at the end.
And because it looks even in that picture that the person's window is rolled down, and you don't want to do that if you're actually
Well, that's in line.
Wash.
That's in line.
Oh, okay.
That's when they're taking your tickets.
Okay.
But yeah.
Got it.
Yes.
Got
so,
it.
Fun, unique.
We'd have to rent a car to do that in Orange County.
We sure would, Skippy.
Get that insurance.
Or if any of our friends live in Anaheim and would like to give us a lift to this amazing event, we will pay for your car wash.
Yeah. We'll pay to clean your car.
Oogie Boogie Bash.
Yeah.
There's a very thin line.
Yeah, this is the tamest.
I promise.
Spooky event.
I promise.
The rest are actually
from
haunts.
This point forward, it's going to get much darker. So, I had to throw this in there because this is high on our bucket list.
Yeah.
Number one, because in addition to loving haunts and creepy stuff, we do love Disney and we love going to the parks. We love the characters. We're 90s kids. So Oogie Boogie Bash is high on the list because number one, you can behave like a kid at Halloween as an adult and no one will give you the evil eye for it. You can wear a costume. You can collect candy. Something like this does happen at the Magic Kingdom in Florida, and we did go to that and we enjoyed it. But Oogie Boogie Bash is on a whole nother level. The production value, there's a villains walkthrough in the forest of Disney California Adventure.
So many characters.
They
bring out lots of rare characters.
So for anyone who's watching who's not a huge fan of spooky, scary, this is fun spooky. You're not going to get terrified at Oogie Boogie Bash. You're just going to have fun, childlike spooky, a spooky good time. Yeah. So that's why it's on the list. It's because at heart we are children.
And if we're gonna be in Anaheim for a spooky season trip, we might as well try to do Oogie Boogie Bash.
Chad and Vanessa are going next year.
Can't wait.
Have fun, guys. I don't know if we're gonna make it.
Yeah.
We're gonna make it someday, but I don't know if it's gonna happen next year. They're also everyone's going next year.
Awesome. I love it. Wait, you're going next week? I'm so excited. I hope you guys at least do some reels.
It's been a hot minute, I know, since our Florida passport has been able to release a vlog simply because of time constraints. But if y'all are going on vacation and you're gonna do Oogie Boogie Bash, I feel like it would be your civic duty to release a vlog.
Or just send us lots of videos.
No pressure, but also
no pressure. Have fun on your vacation. Don't film it if it's stressful. But can't wait to hear about it.
Oogie Boogie Bash, fun for the scaredy cats as much as it is for the true haunt bloods. And you know, if you're a fan of Disney, you know everything is super expensive, but you have a good time when you're there. You're inside the bubble.
It's spooky fun.
It's spooky fun. It's on a lot of people's lists. Literally, the fact that the chat came alive with resounding Oogie Boogie must.
I know we had our friend Kim from Soarin' Over the Magic went this year, and she went. And
Crystal from Crystal Palace.
Yes, but I don't know if Crystal was there. Kim was there the weekend of D23, which apparently it was super busy. But she's a character hunter. She likes to hunt characters. I think her goal was to get 18 more characters that she's never seen before, and she got them all at Oogie Boogie Bash. I may be slightly wrong about those numbers, but still.
If you're just tuning in, we're moving away from Oogie Boogie.
Yeah.
It's not going to be all Disney play spooky.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about actual haunts.
Like
Jason's Woods!
Which
No relation to the J in the chat right now.
I did not realize this was in Pennsylvania. I don't know why I thought it was in Maryland the whole time.
All right, so the story here is every time we go to Field of Screams in Lancaster County, we go to Hershey Park in Hershey, we're driving through York, or so on and so forth. We have a lot of reasons to drive through Pennsylvania on 83. There's always, at least, at this time of year at least, 2 signs for Jason's Woods. And every time we drive by, I'm like, keep meaning to do that. And it's right next door practically to Field of Screams. I do, Field of Screams is our home haunt for sure, especially at this point. We know everyone, we love everyone there. We know that scare actors by name. And everyone knows us. It's a super warm, welcoming environment that we love to go to. So we would never say that we would go to Jason's Woods over Field of Screams. I'm not kidding. But Jason's Woods...
We're not biased or anything.
Jason's Woods is very, very close to Field of Screams in terms of actual distance. So it makes sense, especially as we look at next year to plan Jason's Woods. This is probably the most practically accessible haunt short of Nevermore, which is right down the street.
Right.
So the reason that Jason's Woods is on the list, there's a haunt that we go to every year that we really, really like called Markov's Forest Markov's Haunted Forest in Dickerson, Maryland.
Yeah.
This is the Pennsylvania version. It's like a carnival layout setup, but set in the woods, which I always feel is more spooky. I love woods themed.
It's very
haunts.
Blair Witch.
Yeah, it just lends itself so well to haunted environments. And at the end of the day, I think haunts really do come down to the atmosphere, the ambience. Either you get that feeling walking into the haunt, you're gonna have a good time, or you turn around and leave.
Yeah.
So I get the sense from just looking at the website, the pictures, and all the vlogs I've seen from this place that it is a really fun time. It's definitely something that we're going to do next year. This is a definitive. We're doing this next year. It has to be next
year. There's no excuse at this point.
There's no excuse.
So,
Chad and Vanessa have been to Jason's Woods,
and they liked it.
Tell us what y'all's favorite attraction was at Jason's Woods. I know it might have been a minute since you've been there. Tim, this is really close to Hershey as well. Pretty local. Always wanted to go. Heard their Hayride is a tier.
Is tier? Is
that a tier?
Okay.
I think.
Is that lingo that I'm supposed to know?
Are we stupid?
I'm what? I don't even know.
I think it's top tier.
Okay. Okay.
That's the basis.
Got it. Sorry.
They do have a haunted Hayride. I mean,
I love a hayride.
If y'all haven't seen our Field of Screams vlogs, at least especially the past two, where we were actually able to film on the trails and in the haunts.
Drink every time you say Field of Screams.
Big fans of the haunted hayride at
okay.
I told you.
Okay. All right. That's fine. I just I don't know lingo.
S, like S rank, like in a video game.
ST. Oh, got it. Got it. Thank you. It's not you, it's me. Got it. I do not. I don't keep up with popular.
Chad and Vanessa also say the Jason's Woods hayride is.
All right.
I'm gonna say to die for.
To
die for.
I love a hayride.
Yeah. So what makes Jason's Woods cool? Number one, it's very close by us, so it's very accessible to us. Number two, it's very much a woodsy, haunted vibe, which I like. If you've
only walked through like a house like with walls, and you've never just been sent out into the woods in the dark, not knowing where a scare actor's gonna grab your ankle, it's a pretty different experience.
We were actually talking about the experience at Dark Nights, Hallowscream, a couple of different theme park haunts as we were going through, and talking about the presence of scare zones. At these local haunts like Jason's Woods and Field of Screams, the entire property is one big scare zone, and the scare actors just wander around. That does so much to set the tone and the environment. And I feel like the woods around Jason's Woods just lend themselves that much more. Like, you have places for scare actors to hide, you have like interactions at like the concession booths and whatnot. Like, there's stuff that you can only do on a property like that as opposed to a theme park or something like it that I think is really worth experiencing. So that's why Jason's Wood is on our list and why we will sure be going next year. Hold us to it, guys, because we might start to say in September, like, we're gonna look at this, and this. I want someone to jump in the comments and be like, remember you promised to go to Jason's Woods.
Yeah. I think the only reason we wouldn't is if we somehow pulled off the Anaheim spook trip next year, which I don't think is happening.
I don't think it's possible, but we'll see.
I don't think so.
Morton Manor. If y'all have been watching Super Enthused, we love Jackie and Super Enthused. If you guys have been watching her stuff recently, you will be familiar, at least loosely, with Morton Manor. She went and experienced the haunt first in 2020, went back to visit it very recently. It's also where our friend Kira works. So we were aware of it before Jackie went out there. But it is a year-round haunt in Kissimmee, Florida. Looks like this.
Yeah.
So it
classic haunted house.
It is built into Old Town Kissimmee. It's incredible in that it is just like it's got scare actors. Having a stroke. It's got actual scare actors placed throughout. Like, people are hired in on shifts to come in and work in the house. It's not just like animatronics and,
wax figures
and flickering light gags. Not that there's anything wrong with that. That's a fun attraction in and of itself. But Morton Manor is a true haunt. It's a haunted house. So it operates year round, and right next door is the Haunted Boutique, B-O-O-Teak, which sells all kinds of
fabulous
cool
merch
stuff.
in there.
So much unique merch, and also it's it's online, so you can also shop.
They do have a shop online, so.
But this is definitely, like, we've known about this for a while, and Kira actually, while she's working in the boutique and at Morton Manor, she also works for the Haunt Scene team. If you guys are not following them, and they've been traveling around the country over the last couple of weeks to experience some of the haunts up and down the East Coast, and to some extent the Southern
Midwest
coast.
Too.
Yeah, so definitely check them out if you haven't. If you have not heard of them before, some of the things that have popped up on their road trip have made their way onto our list in the last couple of days, because they look super cool. Yeah, Mitch and Jay are on their way.
And I love to support something that's up year round, because sometimes you just need that little spook dose.
Foodies and passports, at it again. So what makes this place cool? It's year-round. It's operating right out of downtown Kissimmee, like smack in like basically an open mall. Mm-hmm. And it's run by really cool people that are genuinely passionate about what they do, just like family-owned haunts in our area. So definitely want to check them out. We've not made it down there yet, because every time we go to Florida, we get trapped in the Disney bubble and the Universal bubble, and we never ever leave it. Yeah. Because we say we're going to, and then we don't. We just don't.
But the cool thing about this, like, we could make it, of course, part of a spooky trip, or we could just be like, you know what, we're here. We got a car. We're gonna go to Old Town, and we could go, and we could just release like a midsummer spook. It would be kind of cool.
That is the fun thing. I have been saying for the longest time, and I think Katie's talked about it before, it's kind of our pipe dream to one day run a haunt ourselves. Yeah. I don't think it'll actually happen. It's not like financially feasible, but if it were, I would want it to be a year-round haunt. So the fact that this came up on my radar as a result of interactions with Kira and other people who have been to Mortem Manor, and the first thing they said is like, it's year-round. I'm like, how do I get involved? So it's on the list.
Yeah. Anyone wants to quit their jobs and go in on some like real estate and build a haunt with us, let us know.
Mitch and Jay are in. I'm taking this as a tacit agreement, guys.
Okay.
I hope you have enough collateral
to
convince the bank. Sir Henry's Haunted Trail. Y'all probably know this one too, if you're familiar at all with Florida and
that
local
Mitch
haunts.
has been there.
Mitch and I'm pretty sure the foodies have been invited. I know that Mitch and Devin have been invited as media guests to Sir Henry's, but Sir Henry's is very, very much the Field of Screams of Central Florida.
At least from what we've seen.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it does look fantastic. I'll just slide over. This is not even remotely the best image of what happens at Sir Henry's. It is an amazing haunt from what I can tell. Most of what I've seen of Sir Henry's, since we haven't been there, has been through our friends' vlogs.
Or reels or whatnot.
Reels, yeah. Mitch and Devin have been there. Jackie's been there. Kira gets invited as a media guest constantly. Chris the Girl and Tampa J were just there as well. Tons and tons and tons of Central Florida vloggers gravitate towards Sir Henry's because the experience is so genuine and fun. I saw Mitch did have COVID during the event this year, but Devin was able to add a +1.
Yes, so. she did have a +1.
Oh, sorry guys. Next year. Oh, just wait, Jeanna Claire. It's going to get more obscure. Yeah. Sir Henry's, I feel like it doesn't need a huge introduction. It does do off-season events,
which is just like Field of Screams, so that's
just like Field of Screams. Yeah, a lot of haunts do, but a lot of haunts don't.
Yes.
It's like an even 50-50 split down the middle.
Because I think it's similar to Field of Screams where like the property
exists.
It's
year-round, exactly as it is.
It's not built and torn down like some haunts, but they may not have the resources to be, an all year-round haunt with scare actors and stuff like that.
Right. But, so it's really, really cool in that they don't have to tear down and rebuild like a lot of pop-ups. They just continue building and building. So super fun to have that in your area, Floridians. That there are things to do that are spooky at Christmas time and Valentine's Day and fun stuff like that.
Highly recommend a Valentine's Day spook.
We had fun. We had fun at Field of Screams. And we will have fun again. Spoiler alert. We're going to every off-season next year for sure. But Sir Henry's, in and of itself, is, again, I think the Field of Screams of Central Florida. And I love that.
It's got the local haunt charm. Are we at what makes it cool? Okay, let's go.
Well, I was about to transition away because we have been talking about what makes it cool for the last.
Oh, okay. Well, the other thing is like they they actually have like established characters with like their own backstories.
That's
like
true.
You can buy like
they have books.
A book.
They have books written about the characters on their property, which is really cool.
So it's cool. You get to like know.
I'm glad you mentioned that because I was totally going to forget about that. I was super excited about that yesterday, and then I completely forgot about it tonight because that's the kind of week it's Okay, we're expanding beyond the Florida, California bubble now. Get ready, y'all. Here comes something that you probably will not have heard of.
If you have, be impressed.
The Uss Nightmare in Newport, Kentucky. So first of all, Kentucky haunts are something else.
Apparently, my theory was like there's nothing else to do, so maybe you just go build a haunt. And
before we go anywhere, we need to talk about the differing experience levels of different haunts.
Okay, yeah.
So we're gonna get into, as we go, like a little bit more of what's considered an extreme haunt. There is a threshold for us at which we are not comfortable. There's a lot of haunts in like LA, for example. The Blackout haunt in LA is notorious for being an incredibly intense experience. Waterboarding, torture, like it's very uncomfortable to just talk about. There's other stuff that I won't even get into. So an extreme haunt can mean varying different things. If you see the word extreme on a haunt, you need to read into those FAQs very carefully to see how they define it. I am not comfortable going to a haunt that is going to, like, for example, waterboard me or duct tape my hands or make me crawl through.
Or put like a
human
nest
feces.
Of spiders
It's
on
a real
my head.
thing. It sounds ridiculous. It's a real thing. There is an
people
audience
pay
for this.
for that.
People pay for this experience.
We don't
There
want
is
that.
an established audience for this. So that level is not what we're talking about tonight. When we talk about an extreme haunt, these are haunts that call themselves extreme haunts, but are much more subtle.
Yeah, like their definition of extreme might mean the actors touch you, which happens all the time at Field of Screams, and it's not that extreme to me. The worst thing that ever happened to me was I got in the way of a chainsaw once. Not one with an actual chain on it, and I got a bruise once.
I'm glad that Tim brought up the Queen Mary, because we will be talking about that in relation to the USS Nightmare. So for those who have not heard of the USS Nightmare, which I assume will be everyone, this is a ship that has been effectively decommissioned in Newport, Kentucky. It has been made into a haunt. Now the haunt is not... I was
going to say, how did it get to Kentucky?
No, it's not a year-round haunt. But it is a very popular haunt during the peak season. And the reason, first of all, I did hear about this from Kira and the Haunt Scene family, and it looked just so cool. It is what they call a full contact haunt, in that the actors will touch you, but they will not touch you in inappropriate ways. They will not grab at your sensitive regions. They will not, beat you to death. Like, there are, I'm telling you guys, there are haunts that do that. You need to be very careful with the word extreme. But this is not one of those haunts. This is, I think, closer to the line where we would go and have fun. They will, like, when Kara and her friends went, they were like pulled aside and like the scare actors drew on their faces with lipstick. Like, it was part of the experience. It does have a narrative.
My experience being part of a live audience for oh gosh, what's it called?
I don't know. I have no idea where you're going with
this. Oh gosh, sorry guys, my brain.
It's Katie's live experience on TV's Oh Gosh.
What is that movie with Tim Curry and
Rocky Horror?
Yeah. They picked us out of the audience and wrote on our faces with lipstick. Okay, sorry, that was a long derail. I just couldn't remember the name.
It's not actually that far off to say that the USS Nightmare is like the Rocky Horror experience at sea. It is closer probably to, if you all have seen the movie Ghost Ship, there's a lot of thematic elements that are carried over from the movie into this haunt, but it's very unique, and it's not the only one of its kind, which is why I still have Tim's comment up. The Queen Mary in, I believe it's Miami, Central Florida for sure, is a similar haunt on a boat. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know it was in Central Florida.
But it's not the same. It's not quite as extreme or hands-on as the USS Nightmare.
I thought the Queen Mary was like considered like a haunted ship.
It is.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about.
No, like ghost hunters go there.
No.
To the Queen Mary.
Well, are we talking about the same thing?
I don't know.
Maybe you should go sit in the corner.
Does someone tell me if the Queen Mary is actually haunted?
I believe the Queen Mary is the haunted, like it's a haunted attraction in Central Florida. Because there is a haunted attraction. Maybe it's like an attraction based on the actual Queen Mary. Well, that sounds like it could be a thing. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
We were probably talking about the same thing.
Hi, Christina.
Going about it very differently. Hi, Christina.
Welcome.
All right. So, what makes it cool?
It's a ship.
It's a ship
in the middle of Kentucky. How did it get there? We don't know. Like, seriously?
Ooh.
Like, what did they put it on the back of a big rig?
The ship appeared in Kentucky.
I don't know how it got there. It's landlocked.
The USS Nightmare is...
Pull that comment. Queen Mary is legitimately haunted, and it's in Long Beach.
All right,
Wrong.
so the haunt... There is a haunt in Central Florida that is, I believe, also called Queen Mary, which is what I thought we were talking about.
Well, I thought we were talking about the actual haunted ship, which I knew
Well,
was
apparently we were talking about both. So, there you go. long story made short, the USS Nightmare is the haunted attraction version of whatever the hell it is we're talking about.
Even Christina knew.
In California?
I feel validated.
All right, so now we've gone to California, to Long Island, to
Long Beach.
Or Long Beach.
Isn't Long Beach in California?
I don't know. I don't know my geography that well.
He doesn't know where Long Beach is.
And you don't know what the USS Nightmare is.
I don't know what Rocky Horror Picture Show is, apparently. That was embarrassing.
What a night. Oh, what a night. All right, we're moving on. USS Nightmare, guys. Check it out. Newport, Kentucky. Super cool, super interesting. I'm dedicated to the idea of making it there someday. That's probably like my top 2 of must-dos. The last one is later on the list.
Let us know if there's anything else we should do in Kentucky.
And bear in mind that extreme haunts are questionable.
Look, no more water and the lights off.
Magic. Nightmare on Edgewood. There's a reason I talked about extreme haunts. This haunt is full contact as well. It labels itself as an extreme haunt because it is full contact. However, it is not extreme in the way that some other haunts are extreme.
It does look pretty cool.
It is very, it's very industrial from the outside, but it's very...
Well, the facade of the house.
The facade is built in well. It's in an area that's very industrial. So you pull up and you're like, where am I? What's going on? Yeah.
Above it? Oh, cool.
Yeah, that's what I said.
I haven't looked at this picture.
If you roll into the neighborhood and you're lost and you're showing up for the first time, you're like, where am I? Am I about to get murdered? And the answer is yes, but not in the way you think. You're actually in the right place. It's in a very industrial area, but it is like a full, it's a property that exists year round, that is not open year round, similar to Field of Screams and Jason's Woods and other places. So you roll up into this area and everything's indoors except for the walk-through security. I like that they have security, by the way.
Yeah.
Because this is a full contact haunt. This is for the safety of their actors as well as for the safety of the patrons. Obviously no alcohol, obviously no guns, no knives, all of that stuff. But the fact that they even have like security people and like bag checks and whatnot that you can walk up and get checked on your way in goes to show that there's an evolving market for horror. Now, when we talk about full contact in this house, I could only find very low resolution images, so I didn't put one in the slideshow because I thought it wouldn't look bad. But this haunt, people will take you, they will pick you up, and they will carry you, and they will put you on a table and tie you to the table and pretend to murder you. But only pretend. They don't actually waterboard you like in some haunts. I'm telling you guys, it's nuts. They will actually waterboard you. They will actually have you crawl on your hands and knees through human feces. It's disgusting.
Let's keep bringing that up.
This, because I don't know how else to, that's in my mind is like the high end of extreme.
Right.
This haunt is not that. This is more fun.
Well, you become part of the scene for some people.
This is an intense experience,
you may get separated from your group and then you get let go. It's not like you get kidnapped or whatever.
Right.
So it's a step up from the clown nuzzled my hair,
right?
Which is what I'm used to.
At the end of the day, we feel that the fun of being at a haunt is kind of feeling like you're in a horror movie and reacting like a normal person and laughing about it as you're scared. And if it veers too far in the horror direction and becomes like an actual waking nightmare for you, it's not going to be fun. This is like right on the line. It's very immersive and it's very experiential, but it's not over the top. Yeah. And so that's why I think it's like
that step up, which I think we're interested in that next step, but probably not too much beyond that.
Christina is dropping haunt ideas on us that I did not know existed.
Christina, we have nothing from Texas on this list, so drop the Texas ones.
Don't drop them, but drop them in the comments.
Drop them in the comments, because this is not our forever list. It's gonna keep growing.
It is. It absolutely is. This is for.
I wonder what that waiver looks like.
This is probably not the reference for Nightmare on Edgewood, but more.
Tell
for
me
the
you're
experience.
A paralegal without telling me you're a paralegal.
A very good paralegal. Soniclair says they have a Fright Night at a local pumpkin patch that they need to try and see how they compare.
Oh, a Fright Night at a pumpkin patch sounds like my thing.
You know who lives in the pumpkin patch?
The Pumpkin Lord!
The Pumpkin Lord! He rules Halloween!
That's what we always say. We see
anyone who's dressed like a pumpkin.
Yeah. Doesn't matter if it's the actual pumpkin lord or not.
We need to keep the conversation.
Yeah, we're doing good.
Woods of Terror, Greensboro, North Carolina. I swear we've driven past this property and not known it was there because we have done a lot of driving up and down.
I guess we have.
Yeah. So Woods of Terror is similar to Jason's Woods and Markov's in the fact that it is an existing haunt that's built into a woodsy area. What makes this haunt unique and cool is that it's all of that plus Sir Henry's.
Right.
In terms of it has its own characters, it has its own backstory. They have a tale that they tell every year, and every year the haunt evolves because it is a standing property that is able to continue like building on top of itself. But also like it's largely family and friend run. That guy in the center there with the Tiger King vibes, the Python, he is the owner,
okay.
And the haunt itself is spun around the story that he created and has been carried on through all of the scare actors. So I don't know if the vibe is quite on par with Markov's or Jason's Woods or any of those other that are like, more atmospheric terror, and this is more narrative driven terror. So the vibe may be a little bit different, but it does look really, really cool. And I would really like to go someday. It's not that far from, actually, speaking of, it's not that far from Carowinds, where they do Carowinds. So there's a lot of reasons to head down that way. And while you're there, hop on over to Woods of Terror. This has been one that I've been looking at for a while. I follow their Instagram page. It does share a lot of similarities with Field of Screams and Markov's in our area. So
that's like the recipe for a local haunt, I think.
It is.
Like, there's
local haunts are often the best haunts.
Yeah, there's going to be those similar things. Just like a theme park haunt's going to have some similar things.
Perfect transition.
Yes, the Pumpkin Lord
also
Jack. He's my Pumpkin Lord.
I've traveled all of Ireland. Check out our Busch Gardens Hollow Scream vlog from this year. We did Jack is Back and a lot of other. We did all 5 houses.
Again, I am asking Busch Gardens to make some
Jack is Back
merch because why not? Anyway,
it is a legend.
Legend.
This one, I'm not going to spend a ton of time on this because there is a limited amount of information available without actually experiencing it. So there's only so much I can tell you about what I've not seen and experienced. This, in Cincinnati, Ohio, the Dent Schoolhouse, is an actual schoolhouse. It is a haunted property that once a year, every year, becomes a haunted attraction with scare actors. And it's incredible to see. This doesn't look like much, right? This looks like someone's backyard shed. But imagine this built into the hallways of a schoolhouse. This is the basement of the schoolhouse this picture was taken from.
I actually think it looks pretty cool.
You move, well, it's got like Jack Skellington. A little like...
It's little pumpkins. Little Jack. Little jack-o'-lanterns.
So you move through like the classrooms, down the hallways, through the locker rooms. How many video games, horror enthusiasts who are watching live, how many video games have we played where we're walking down an abandoned hallway and the locker opens up quietly and then you just stare at it deciding whether or not you want to continue going down that hallway or whether you want to turn the game off and call it a night?
There was that game you were playing that wasn't school. I can't remember what it was.
Fear and Outlast 2.
Yeah.
The 2 that I've played recently.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's always terrifying. It's never not terrifying. Imagine that in real life. That's what Dent Schoolhouse is. They have designed the entire atmosphere, the experience of the haunt around the notion that children are creepy. And it works! It works flawlessly. Yeah, Tim knows what I'm talking about.
So I like the, whether or not you believe in hauntedness or ghosts or whatever, I think there is something to be said for a spooky event taking place in a place that is historical and just kind of spooky in general. Is it haunted or not? Oh no, it's kind of like the backstory writes itself basically. So
Christina, what you just described is the basis of a terrifying level of Outlast 2, and I guarantee you it ends very differently.
That is I can't. I'm picturing I don't know. Yeah, I think your confusion and creepiness is valid.
Jesus, be scary, y'all.
God. I don't know what that comment was in response to, but maybe like
I think the video.
My historical.
Yeah.
Our
comments are getting away from us.
I swear, it's just Tuesday.
Oh, Dead by Daylight! I can't believe I forgot to mention Dead by Daylight. Yeah.
Is that a schoolhouse?
That's
one
another
too?
schoolhouse scary.
I don't play the scary games. The only one I've ever played was Alan Wake.
Yo, Christina, by the way, is a teacher,
Yeah.
so she knows what she's talking
She
about.
is an
Definitely
expert.
go check out her content. It's not very spooky,
No.
but I think you'll like it if you're
But-
a teacher who understands why the schools without kids is
She
scary.
she is a teacher. She's an expert in the subject. Ooh, that's a pun.
Ooh.
Yeah.
All right. This, if I'm not mistaken,
Is number 13.
is number 13. By design, we chose this one.
The 13th
The
gate.
13th gate. I didn't realize the slides were up while I was doing that. So y'all have seen all this footage.
Yeah. Just
Sorry. All right.
went through it again.
The 13th gate, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. This is why I want to do this haunt. 13th gate is one long, mind-blowing, high production quality haunt to the tune of Halloween Horror Nights. The production value is as good or better than Halloween Horror Nights. This is a shot from the actual haunt. The premise of this haunt is that there are 13 realms that you go through, that you pass through as a civilian experiencing the haunt. And as you're going through each of these 13 realms, there are narratives in each piece. There's also just a depth of immersion that is borderline terrifying in and of itself, just talking about it. One of which is you're in the sewers, you're walking across a rickety ridge. There is a pit
Apparently of snakes.
of hundreds of live snakes directly beneath your feet. Don't fall. These are this is genuine. Hundreds of live snakes in a pit. They do not, slither up and bite you. You're high above them. But you can look down and see the actual slithering and have yourself an Anaconda 2 Blood Orchid mating ball moment where you look down, you're like, oh, I'm going to die today.
Or maybe an Indiana Jones moment.
I don't know. I think it's worse than Indiana Jones. The 13 realms are all different. This one is like I keep wanting to say monastery. It's a convent.
It could be a monastery.
It could be both.
I mean, they have
But
Mary everywhere.
every realm has its own narrative, has its own production value, and when you make it to the end, you have survived the experience, and it is so just bonkers.
Yeah,
cool
if you think
to
of
just
like
think about
how high the production quality is for like HHN and some other like haunts that do it really well, like it's been described that the immersion and the attention to detail in this haunt will blow your mind. Was it blow our minds? Is that what it
blow
said?
our minds.
Blow our minds.
Yeah, actually, and the reason Kate says is that is because Kira actually recommended this one to us when we were talking about haunts with her. She said, this is the one, before you die, this is the number one you have to get to. And that's including Halloween Horror Nights, that's including everything that we've done and everything we haven't done. Like, this is the one.
I would bet that if we got through this list of 13, that Halloween Horror Nights
would be kind of disappointing.
Would fall, towards the bottom. Just because these local people it's their bread and butter, like it's all they do.
It's what
so
they're
really good at it,
The Halloween Horror Nights creative team at Universal, they work hard. I'm not saying they don't. They do a great job.
And they have to
bringing
come up
life.
with new things every
year. Like
sometimes
the minute Halloween Horror Nights opens for business one year is the minute they start thinking about next year.
So.
It's all they do too. But these haunts that are dedicated to Unyield, it takes them like 5, 10, 15. Field of Screams just celebrated 30 years of working with the same property doing the same
Nightmare
story.
on Edgewood just celebrated
45.
43 or 45 years.
They keep making newer and better improvements on these local haunt properties that own their own properties and can do whatever they want with them year round. They just spend all year building on top of what's there to make it better each year. And there's no way that something that's pop-up, Halloween Horror Nights included, could ever compare to that.
Yeah.
So the 13th gate, rather.
I keep wanting to say 13 Ghost.
And I keep wanting to say the 9th gate. Yeah.
There's a couple things I think. I would think of 13, the roller coaster in Alton Towers, and 13 Ghosts.
I think of the short-lived reality
gate.
series 13 Fear is Real.
And then there's that movie called 13.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's about Well, that's the number
girls.
13.
Oh, the number 13.
Oh, 13 is a
I
teen
thought it was
angst
like
movie.
a teen angst movie. Yeah, exactly.
Anyways.
Anyway.
What makes this haunt cool? We've already kind of touched on all the best things about it. Even if you guys just go check out the website, the thing about haunts and just year-round haunts and off-season haunts and whatever haunts that you want to talk about, when you look at the promotional materials for a haunt, all looks very much the same. It looks
very similar. Yeah.
And it's not their fault. There's only so much you can do.
Yeah, you don't want to give away your
a clown
stuff.
with like weepy eyes or like cuts or whatever looks just as scary in one place
Guy
as it does in the other place. It looks
holding a
exactly the
chainsaw.
same level of scary.
Yeah.
So like all the production reels for all these different places look very much the same. But I will tell you that the 13th gate, when you go to their website and you look at their promotional materials, it is next level. Like my mind was blown just looking at the videos. It looks nothing like what I expected it to. And the fact that this is all basically in New Orleans makes it that much scarier, which is a haunted ground in and of itself.
Like New Orleans has just
ghost story after ghost story after ghost story.
All the spooky power down there. That's very cool. I have been to New Orleans. We didn't do a graveyard tour. We did do a haunted bar crawl. That was pretty fun.
Yeah.
So telling us scary stories while we did a bar crawl.
And we did a ghost hunting in Savannah, Georgia.
Yeah, we did the
very
ghost,
similar.
The ghost tour in Savannah.
So to Chad and Vanessa's point, we don't have a list of honorable mentions.
Honestly, I did not think we'd get through those in an hour, especially how much I rambled. So we can definitely come up with some honorable mentions.
There are honorable mentions that I would like to make, some of which we've talked about before and some of which we've been to haunts that we feel are still like top tier haunts. There's a reason we keep bringing up Field of Screams, right? Yeah. There's a reason that Field of Screams actors and actresses are in our thumbnail picks. Yeah. Like the haunts that we go to year over year, there's a reason we keep going back to them. So I will tell you guys, Markov's Haunted Forest, we're going this weekend. I was going to say next weekend. We were going to go the first weekend of October and it got rained out. That would have been the opening weekend of the 30th season leftovers. And it was such a bummer. But also we both had kind of a head cold, so it was kind of like, okay. So we're going towards the end of this season. The thing about vlogging during the haunt season, and those of you who are vloggers on this list will know this too, your videos get traffic towards the beginning of the season as people are trying to make plans for next season and this season, but they drop off quite significantly towards the middle of October, which is now. So we don't expect the Markov's video to get much traction, but we're going to do it because Markov's really does pour their heart and soul into the haunt. We really want to share that with you guys. And the same is true, by the way, of the Hershey Park Dark Nights vlog. I don't think that's going to get much traction at this point in the season because there's only 2 weekends left of the haunt. But Tim, Storming Thrills, you'll be the first to tell you, Hershey Park did a great job this year with their Dark Nights haunt. It's not apparently their very first haunt ever, but it's their first haunt in many, many years, and the first time that we've ever been at a haunt on their property. And I thought it was great. Yeah,
I definitely have like I don't want to say critiques. Like, I think there's potential some places that we can definitely go further. Like, we would love to see those scare zones kind of expanded, not necessarily in terms of space, but just in terms of get more bodies in there, a little bit more props. And I think there'd be, some really good additions there. But we were very impressed with the house walkthroughs, actually. Like, just had a great time.
I may or may not have sprained my foot walking around at Hershey Park. It's very hilly and we were out of practice. It's a silly, silly story. But despite that, and the fact that I was in
frog in your throat?
Frog in my throat. The frog is my throat. Despite the fact that we were in quite a bit of foot pain after a long day of parking and haunting, we actually went back to do some houses twice at Hershey Park.
We did.
Which is something that I didn't think I would be able to say, to be honest with you, going into the haunt. It was really, really cool. Busch Gardens and SeaWorld both put on incredible haunts that we try to go to every year. Hollow Scream at SeaWorld and at Busch Gardens. Same event title, very, very different events.
Yeah, different vibes.
And that goes for the Tampa location and the Williamsburg location, by the way, Busch Gardens. So those I would highly recommend.
But I think I do think that, well, I don't know, Vanessa, I thought you were saying, like, are there any honorable mentions on our bucket list? Like,
I know, but I'm
okay.
talking about honorable mentions that I think I would recommend to other people
Oh,
too.
okay.
Because the whole point of this is to give other people things to experience on their own bucket list too.
Well, I would say if we're gonna throw in like some ones we do want to do, it just didn't make the list because we wanted to keep to the creepy 13 number.
I'm looking up
we have
two
mentioned,
in particular that were recommended to us that I want to be able to
as far as like other theme park haunts, like we do want to check out Haunt, the closest Cedar Fair park to us. Well, technically, it's not the closest, but it's the one we like the most is King's Dominion. So
you've not been to Haunt?
We'd like to do
Proper
that.
Haunt.
We'd like to do that. Just a shout out, because I just remembered it because we watched Chad and Vanessa's vlog recently. The Knoebels theme park, family run. They're Hallow Fun. It's definitely, a bit more family friendly, but man, they go all out on spooky decorations, and they have haunted overlays on their train and their haunted cars, and like their antique cars become like a haunt drive-through. So shout out to the Knoebels and Knoebels family for putting on a good spooky event too. We did not go this year, but we went last year.
Okay,
it was a lot of fun.
I'm having a hard time finding it, but Kaylee, I think you're still in the chat. If you're not,
the one in Alabama.
The one in Alabama. We drove past it when we went down to Alabama to visit Kaylee. There's a warehouse not far from Birmingham, like downtown central Birmingham, that is a year-round property that is only open during the season, and it looks very much like another local Field of Screams, like upscale haunt.
It was called like
the stuff that I saw on the website.
Something.
It's got a number. It's like 18 or something.
Oh, I thought it was S.
No, that's another one. That's Sloss.
Oh,
the
Sloss.
The Sloss Furnace, also in Alabama, also looked like one we would want to do someday. But Kaylee, if you are in the chat still, which I know people come in and go out, and that's okay.
That's okay.
But if you're around, please drop the names of those haunts that are next to you, because I know those are on our honorable mention bucket list too.
Yeah.
And then we were missed this trip at Knoebels.
Yeah, I liked your vlog. Vlogs? You had more than one.
Definitely go check out their, well, especially the Hallow Fun from Phoenix Fall Fun Fest.
Yeah.
That's their most recent vlog. Definitely check that out too. Haunter.
Is that is he made Haunt or Haunter? Are they all Haunt? Haunter?
I'm pretty sure they're Haunt, but we could also be referencing Haunter the Pokemon, and I would be fine with it.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say, I was like, that reminds me of the Pokemon.
Statesville in Chi-Town.
Chi-Town. Chi-Town?
Chi-Town. It's Chi-Town. I've heard it pronounced many times.
This
one, I'm sticking to my guns
at
on.
Everything.
Chicago, yeah. Tim and I are on the same way. So Statesville. Mitch, tell us about Statesville. I don't know about
Wait, so there's a haunt in Chicago?
It's Chicago. There's everything in Chicago. There's a Six Flags in Chicago.
There is?
Yes. How do you not know this? We have family in Chicago.
We will.
We kind of do.
No. Sorry.
Anywho's,
I may or may not have a family member moving there.
Statesville.
Now I know what I can do when we're out there.
You know what? We got a minute. Let's pull it up.
Yeah, seriously, I thought this would be like an hour and a half live, and we got reads through them so fast.
Statesville Haunted Prison.
Ooh.
All right.
Giving me Prison Break or Prison. What was that? What was the one? HHN.
Ready for some Inception, y'all?
Don't look at our tabs. Whoa, that was weird. All right.
Statesville Haunted Prison. Bada boom.
That does look pretty cool. I mean, Haunted Prison.
This reminds me, you know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of Penhurst Asylum. Hell's Gate Haunted House.
Done Penhurst?
No, but it's also very local. It's in Pennsylvania. Tim probably knows about Penhurst. Tell us, Tim. Do you know about Penhurst?
Ooh, that's a look.
I mean, it looks like, Frightmare Asylum on steroids.
I love it when they put cameras in the... Oh, yes.
Real audience reaction.
Yes, I love these. It's so fun. I love when they do that.
Yeah, I like this. Fake news.
Yeah, Incident at Statesville Prison.
That is a good one.
Yeah,
I like that.
That's a good one. check that out. Oh.
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
We're good. So that can definitely
The list is ever growing.
East State Penitentiary I have heard of too. That was a good one. Oh, Jamie and Ari. That's right. Jamie and Ari are Chicago locals. Or nearby Chicago locals. Six Flags is north of Chicago. Well, they post vlogs from Chicago all the time.
I'm sorry. I can't even keep track of.
Hide amongst your bucket hat.
Just talk to the stream.
I'm kidding. You don't have to be Bushmouth. Oh, that's the other thing. At Dark Nights at Hershey Park, you can come in costume.
Yeah.
That was cute.
That was cute.
We didn't because I didn't want to look like a nerd. but
I would have.
You can come in costume.
I would have if we decided to do that, but I didn't know we could.
Statesville is 45 minutes out from Chicago. Old abandoned.
I like it. Hell Block. Yeah, that was the haunted.
And it was the go-to haunt in high school. That's just Field of Screams is the same way. Like a lot of people love Field of Screams for being exactly what it is.
Just a comment that is a sidebar. We need a lot of like young high school and middle schoolers at these haunts, and I have to say most of them have been very pleasant and excited to like shout out in the vlog, and they're really like, I did not have a pleasant middle school experience. I was not cool, so I'm slightly scared of middle schoolers, even though I'm 30. So every time we see them, I'm like,
when I see middle schoolers, I cross to the other side of the street.
I don't want it. And I also had an experience where a bunch of them cut in front of me at American Dream,
and I was let it go.
I was like, oh,
never let it go.
How rude. But now they're starting to restore.
Now guys, I will tell you too, when I was in middle school, I would never in a million years have been allowed to go to a haunted experience.
Would you have wanted to anyway?
Yeah. I mean, I absolutely would have.
In middle school? You weren't a scaredy cat?
I mean, I consider myself to be a scaredy cat in retrospect, but I also watched a whole lot of movies on YouTube, like The Grudge.
I did not like scary movies until I think dating you, which was like 10 years ago.
I did it! It was me!
I would not have done any scary things in middle school.
The haunted prison aspect.
Yeah.
I am glad, you guys, that we are able, like everyone has their own haunt experiences to relay here too, because that was kind of what I was hoping would happen on this live stream, is that we would all kind of throw ideas out to each other. There's a lot of haunts. As I said,
fight a middle schooler. I haven't found it necessary to. I just want to say.
There's a lot of haunts that are mid-tier, that are like perfect entry-level haunts for like the younger crowd, and like not necessarily so scary that they would put you off haunts forever. There's, as we said before, there's the other end, which is way too scary, like way too realistic and way too graphic, and not something that would actually be fun or enjoyable for most people. But the haunts that we enjoy are the haunts that are like locally run, family owned, dedicated to the narrative, and that's why we picked the 13 that we picked tonight, are because those are all haunts that fit that bill.
They also, like we've said, there's thousands, and we haven't heard of all of them, and that list.
I've heard of less than 100 haunts.
Yeah,
I know of the existence of over 1,000, but I am not.
There has to be a handful in every state, and we have 50 of them. So I can't imagine we'll get to all of them. Real quick, HHN.
For Halloween Horror
The Ring or Night. I mean, I'd be down.
Nightmare on Elm Street is one of my favorite properties. Like, total. Like, I would say Nightmare on Elm Street is like my one big franchise for
And The
horror,
Ring was my first scary movie.
And then probably Chucky underneath that for me, which I'm not caught up on Child's Play yet.
Yeah.
Don't spoil anything. But yeah. So,
I'd be down for The Ring and Nightmare on Elm Street.
I think it makes sense to do another Halloween Horror Night speculation live stream next year as we start getting close.
We can do that as like a halfway to Halloween tradition.
I know we all get excited about Halloween Horror Nights, but we do need to give credence to the local haunts that are not backed by Hollywood production studios too.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. We have been rambling for a bit. I do want to call out all the different spooky friends that we have. All of these are Instagram accounts. I don't think any of them have independent TikTok or Facebook accounts. I'm not sure they do.
If they do, they're
not
probably
linked to their public personas.
Yeah, they might be shared somewhere.
So Spooky Kira, as we said, has been instrumental in educating us about haunts in the area. She does work for Morton Manor and the Haunted Boutique, and she does travel around as a media person for Haunt Scene, both of which are amazing properties / organizations that you should definitely check out. And she is a wonderful person as well, who is super sweet to us all the time and not absolutely crazy enough to do the extreme haunts that we also don't like.
Mm-hmm.
So, Ghoulish
it's good
Mortal.
to vet things through her, though.
I was going to say, Mitch, I'm pretty sure I found the Ghoulish Mortal through you and Devin. We connected and have been following each other for a while now. And they love going to haunts and doing haunts and also going to like Home Goods and Home Depot and checking out all the spooky merch. Basically, if you live for Halloween, you should be following all of these people. That includes Spooky Thankful Mary as well, who is geared more towards Halloween merchandise, but like is always the herald of Halloween for me and all the fun stuff that comes. So definitely check all of them out if you are a lover of Halloween. You will not be disappointed. They do go to haunts all over the country and like to experience things the way we do.
Spooky things.
And if you're wondering about the Ghoulish Mortal and their whereabouts,
God. You can find them.
You can find them with Mitch and Darren. All right, you guys. It has been lovely. I am not ready to give up spooky season. I'm not. We have a little bit more spooky to go.
They've started putting out the Christmas merch,
stuff has started transitioning over to Christmas.
It's sad. I'm like, come on.
It is tragic because spooky season. We start spooky season in August. Like when Spirit Halloween opens its doors near us, which is usually mid-August. That's when it's like, okay, get all the decorations out, start watching scary movie. We've been doing one scary movie a night, and towards the end of the season, I'll post how many different things we've gotten through.
And we finished the Midnight Club last night.
Well, I'm counting that on our list. No. It's going to be shows and movies because there's shows to watch too. Yeah, whoever thought that it would be a great idea to end the Midnight Club with a cliffhanger was devastatingly cruel to us. But yeah, spooky season is winding down. I do have one kind of sad announcement, which I hinted at towards the beginning of this live stream, which is the vlog schedule that we've been keeping up with for the past several months, almost 8 months of straight posting once a week, every week. We're going to get thrown off schedule this week. So we are not going to be able to get a vlog out by Thursday because it's just too chaotic what's going on in our lives right now. But all fun stuff. There will be more vlogs. And so probably what's going to happen is next week you're going to get 2 from us. You're going to get one on Monday and one on Thursday at our normal post time of 2 p.m. That is my plan. And you will probably get 2 the following week, but they might be a little bit different. There's fun stuff coming, y'all. So we are ready for a little more spooky before we wrap up our season. Not all of it will be vlog, but we will be catching back up with y'all in vlog form for a couple more spooky events, and then in live stream form in 2 weeks when spooky season is officially, tragically over. And what we will be talking about at that time is Busch Gardens, Williamsburg!
Busch Gardens Coasters Ranked.
We started a lot of fights with the Hershey Park
we enjoyed we really enjoyed the Hershey
That was a lot of fun.
Coasters Ranked.
So now with a lot of the same audience who's been to the same places, we're going to carry that metric or that ranking system over to Busch Gardens, Williamsburg and have our own internal fights about what coasters are best. I'm just telling you all right off the bat, Pantheon is going to find its place on a surprising rank on our list, both of us probably.
Yeah.
I
have given Pantheon several ride-throughs, so I think it hits different now than we first rode it. Because at first I was like, are we sure this is amazing? I'm like, okay, it's pretty amazing. But
it's very hit or miss.
Yeah.
But it is,
a
Pantheon vlog is one of my favorite short little vlogs.
I also was bitter because getting on that ride, it was just, I don't know, it was just a windy spring or whatever, but we could not get it. We could not get on it.
Still 2 more weeks of spooky season
Yes.
before we throw in the towel. And Keeping Up in Disney is going to Fright Fest at Six Flags this weekend. Have fun, you guys. That's another one that we just have no real excuse to miss, but we keep missing.
Yeah. Also, our closest Six Flags is
America.
Not the greatest Six Flags. So we'd probably rather go to the one in New Jersey. And it's just it's a bit more time.
Also, bear in mind that Six Flags has adjusted its bag policy, which makes it a lot more difficult to carry camera or equipment around. So if we go, we're probably not vlogging it, which isn't as fun for everyone that follows us. We would Instagram it probably, but we wouldn't be able to vlog. So you can vlog, but you have to break down the camera in ways that's not convenient and put them in your pocket, and that's also not convenient. Yeah. Stuff like that adds up to the experience.
But I mean, not to say like we said, it's not like we wouldn't do something just because we can't vlog it. We just try to plan for content we can. Or we're gonna fight. Yeah.
Chad and Vanessa,
bring your boxing gloves.
Teeing up the boxing fight for Busch Gardens Williamsburg. Katie doesn't dislike.
It's not my.
I dislike Apollos.
Yeah,
that's a whole other thing, which we will discuss.
I don't know. Tim's body like becomes something different on Apollos for some reason. He's like, it's just so shaky, and I'm like, I am fine.
Two more for the list.
Oh,
haunted bus tour and haunted bar.
Oh, a bus? Okay, I'm there. How far is Galena from
Chicago?
Where you guys are? Maybe we'll do a Keeping Up in Disney spook meetup. That would be fun.
Ooh, that would be fun. One day, you guys. One day.
Yeah. Round one fight.
All right, y'all. Save some energy for the next live stream because we are going to have fights. But we appreciate you all tuning in. We hope we have given you some spooky things to be excited about.
And you have given us some as well.
You have definitely given us some as well. So we are excited to check out all of those suggestions. Yeah. It's been a fun spooky season.
We do have some off-season spooky events at Field of Screams, so we'll be back in spooky mode before too long, but 2.5 hours. Okay, so it's going to be a trip. Let's do it.
Yeah, but it gets you out of the city, so it's all good.
Let's do it. All right.
All right, guys. Thank you once again for joining us. We love you all. I am Tim.
I'm Katie.
And every night
is a new adventure.
Spooky season continues 2 more weeks. Bye. Thanks for coming.